Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to Kurt Jefferson. A lot of you know Kurt because he is our newsletter editor, our award-winning newsletter editor. He's also on our board, CKCS, for in the late 1990s, right? And been teaching, all the Apple device products for at least 20 years. So what we probably don't know about him is that he was on the Herald Leader when they did Kentucky.com or KentuckyConnect.com. You all remember that way back. When was it? In the 90s?
It was 2000.
Or 2000.
2000.
And then also, he worked for WLEX as a photographer and
Reporter.
So
I tell people in their 20s, I was there when Tom and Nancy were there, and they have a blank look.
oh, he also
I have no idea.
Animals. And if you join our All Things Apple, we have a little mascot, Thea, this time. Come on up.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and let you.
Okay.
We will go from there. Anybody else in the waiting room?
I don't see him. I don't see anybody. So that's a good sign, isn't it?
Okay, yes, perfect.
What Brookie, thank you, Brookie. What she forgot to mention is in terms of genealogy, I'm related to several French kings who went mad. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But anyway, I know that's and I didn't know about Thea either. I do love animals. In fact, I wanted to be a vet when I was a little kid until I learned that you had to put animals down. Horses, cats, dogs, but I can't do that. So anywho, I'm glad you're here. How many of you, moving to the program real quickly, how many of you use a VPN? Anybody? Okay. I've been using one for probably 2 years. And first off, to start, I want to show you a quick video that basically explains what a VPN is, a virtual private network. Virtual private network is what it stands for. And basically, it's just an app. It's like Word or Safari or PowerPoint or Excel or Numbers or Pages. It's just another app that you install on your device that connects to the internet. It can be anything from a Windows machine or a Mac or an iPhone or an Android phone or an iPad, it doesn't matter. What it does is that it takes your internet signal, which still goes out through your internet provider, but it puts it in a tunnel so that nobody can see it. And what your internet provider sees is gibberish. Let me share my screen. And I hear a phone that's off the hook.
That's what always this one is off the hook.
My hearing is better than I thought it was. I'm hearing that. Okay. Let's see if you can hear this through the television and if you can hear this at home. This is a quick video about what is a VPN.
You probably heard of a VPN before. It's even possible you've used one before. But do you know what it does? A VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, which basically means it gives you privacy online. Originally, VPNs were only used in business settings where big businesses, organizations, or governments wanted to secure their data. Since people worked remotely and needed to connect online, businesses needed to create a secure connection. Otherwise, they were at risk for hacking or other lost data. Nowadays, VPNs are used by everyone, specifically because it ensures your location stays private. Your data is encrypted and that you can surf the web anonymously. But how does it work? For a second, to understand how the internet works, when you visit a site like Facebook or Twitter, you type in a domain name. That domain is basically a nickname for the website's IP address. An IP address is just like your home address, only it consists of numbers and not street names. Since it's much easier to remember names than a string of numbers, we give websites domain names and a server translates them. Your computer has an IP address too, and so does every device browsing the internet. When you type in the website's domain name on your browser, whether you're using Chrome, Firefox, or even Internet Explorer, you send your data into the internet until it reaches a server. That server then translates the data and sends you back the website you requested. The problem is, when you send that data to the server, you're sending them your IP address and a lot of other information too. This is where hackers can intercept your information. Imagine you're sitting in a coffee shop using your public Wi-Fi on your phone and you want to check your bank account. Someone else with a laptop can easily log into the network and get a hold of your passwords, emails, and other information you might have. But if you use a VPN, they won't be able to access that. The websites you visit can also gather your information, but they tend to do it in order to study their demographic. Usually, it's not a problem, but sometimes you want to protect your identity and privacy. So how does a VPN protect my privacy? When you send information online, a VPN creates a tunnel that encrypts your information. This way, if someone gets a hold of your data, they won't be able to read it. The tunnel also makes it harder to hack in, but don't be fooled. It is still possible, just much harder to do. The VPN also adds in an extra server. We spoke about how you send data from your computer to a server, and then that server feeds you back with the website. But with VPN, your data goes to their server first, and then it's sent out to the website. This extra step helps in a lot of ways. First, it can change your location. A lot of video streaming websites like Netflix and Hulu have strict content depending on your geolocation. Let's say you want to watch your favorite show on Netflix, but it's not available in your country. You send your information to one of the VPN servers in America, and then that server sends it to the Netflix website. Netflix now thinks you're in America, and you can stream your show without any problems. A VPN tricks them into thinking you're in a different location because the signal is coming from a different server. Clever, right? Changing your location can also be helpful when booking a hotel or flight. Research has shown that hotels and flight prices change depending on your location, and a VPN could potentially save you lots of money. But let's get back to your privacy. Remember how we mentioned websites sometimes collect your data? Well, many times governments can request this information and use the listed IP addresses to track your location. But with the VPN, your information only reaches the VPN server. They can't track you back to your original IP address. See how cool that is? Many VPNs also have a no logs policy, which means they don't record what sites you visit. So if the government requests a VPN provider for tracking logs, your information won't be there. VPNs are really handy when it comes to keeping your privacy safe on the web. By changing your location, encrypting your data, and ensuring your privacy. It's no wonder so many people use them these days. Now that you know what a VPN is, it's time to go get one. You need to see our top VPNs or click the icon below to share this video with your friends.
I have a document that if you want it, if you want me to send it to you, I'll send it to you, email it to you after tonight, if you want me to. It's just a document with all these links on it. You can watch it at home without being rushed, and be able to get more out of it because you can spend some time with it. Um, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Here's the document that I will send you. Here's something I don't understand. And I think this is totally backwards, but this is just the way I see things, I guess. Let me open this for you, this page. Here we go. In 2018, the U.S. House voted to allow internet service providers to share your personal information. It comes from Consumer Reports. Um, the new FCC communications rules back in 2018 intended to limit how internet providers can use customers' sensitive personal information. But that all basically was killed when the US House voted to allow internet providers to use and share user data. And this is some of the stuff that now your internet provider, the company you're paying for internet service, they know where you're located. They know this is what bothers me, children's information. Your child has whooping cough and you want to learn more about it on the web, your ISP knows all about that. Health information, if you're searching for, you know, kidney stones or whatever the situation is, it's not private. Financial information, social security numbers, web browsing history, app usage, how much you use a particular app, and content of communications. I think this is really wrong. I think it should be protected unless you opt in and you say, okay, you can sell my information. But that's not what they decided. This occurred in 2018. And this is one of the links I will send you if you want in the document here. What's the best way for me to send them? Just for them to email me?
That would work.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when this is done, I'll give them my email address.
A lot of people can't download it as a chat.
Exactly. And nobody here can because they're not on Zoom.
Put their email on here.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
But the people, we've got about 22 people on Zoom, and that might be easier if you put it in.
That's
the chat.
true. That's true. It's in a Pages document, so I'll save it as a PDF before we quit. Here's a website that I really like regarding security. It's called safetydetectives.com. They pretty much support using VPNs. They think it's worth it. Let me show what they have to say. And you can read this, for example, when you get home, because it's long and involved. They explain what VPNs do, which you actually know now, and they want you to make an informed decision about whether you really need one. When you use a VPN online, this is what your internet service provider sees.
The Zoom people are not seeing your screen,
Okay, I need to share
or
it.
at least he's not seeing it back here.
Okay, that would be because I'm not sure.
There.
Yes. Here we go. I think I have too many knobs to keep track of it. Anyway, this is what your VPN does. It scrambles what you're doing on the internet and your ISP. It not only changes your IP address, and IP address is similar to your home address. Anything that's on the internet has an IP address. Your phone, your computer, your iPad, your Ring doorbell, if you have a camera connected to they all have an IP address. And IP addresses are issued to states in numbers. So if it's between this number and this number, people know that you're located in California, for example. Well, if you're using a VPN, it changes your IP address so you could be anywhere. They don't know where that, they don't know. It changes it. It encrypts your internet traffic, goes through, and you can read this. It's especially important when you're doing banking or when you're on public Wi-Fi, especially at places like an airport, coffee shop, anything like that. It's really, it can be dodgy because I don't know who's running the Wi-Fi here. Do I trust them? Well, I don't even know who runs it. And they're collecting information from my computer, from my iPad or whatever. And are they collecting that information to send me crud that I don't want? Well, I don't know. This is something I've never done, but he mentioned in the video, if you want to watch a certain program that's on a streaming service and they have contracts, we can air this program in America between March 1st and 30th, and then our contract expires, so it's no longer available there. Well, it's still available in New Zealand. So you could use your VPN technically. This, I don't know if this is legal and it doesn't fit your user. You know, I can't recommend doing this because I don't think it's quite, it doesn't match what the streaming service wants you to do, but it is possible. You can log in and you're in New Zealand and you're able to watch the program. At least that's what some people do. One thing that's really important, the reason VPNs were even created, a big part of it was because of Russia and China. Those two countries hate journalists and they take things that they write and they steal it and they jail, as you well know, jail journalists. Well, if you're using a VPN and you can get around the government restrictions, you can send your stories to an editor and it will be published. And that's the first thing that the Communist Party, for example, doesn't want in China. VPNs help you get around that. So when you go to China or Russia and you write a story and issue it, you'll be prepared with your VPN. And how do you choose a good VPN? Well, when you get this, you'll be able to read some of the details because there are plenty of them. Here's what they can't do. VPNs cannot make you completely anonymous online. Not totally anonymous because you're using cookies. And cookies from different places that you visit, different websites, are linked to you. They were created for advertising purposes. You go to the New York Times and there's a big ad for Volkswagen Jetta. Oh, I've already seen that ad. The next day I go there, there's a different Volkswagen. Those were cookies were originally designed for. It also, a VPN cannot protect you from malware or phishing schemes. Phishing schemes are when you get an email or you get a text that says you really need to pay this bill. That's a phishing. They're reaching out to you to try to scam you. It's human error if you fall for that. Account hacking that you had nothing to do with. VPNs won't protect you from that. It will not speed up a slow internet connection. It will not eliminate tracking entirely because of cookies. So it doesn't prevent everything. Let's see. This is kind of interesting. I thought this is interesting. Where are VPNs illegal? Let's see here. Let's go down here. Where are they illegal? Belarus, Iraq, North Korea, Turkmenistan, and where are they restricted? China, Egypt, India, Iran, Oman, Russia, Turkey, UAE, Uganda. Does there seem to be a pattern there with those countries? Why would they want to restrict people from using the internet? Isn't it like you may not get the government word. You may not get the official word from the government. You have a brain and you can look up stories that don't quote their comments, don't repeat what the government says. So they're not allowed there or they're heavily restricted. Thank you, Joe, for sending me this. Edge, Microsoft Edge is getting a VPN. It already has one. Edge is a browser that comes on Windows machines. There's also a Mac version of it. The downside of this is a story that was in Tom's Guide. The down story is once you start using it, and after you use it for a while, if you use it to a certain point, it stops working and they want you to pay for it. It's kind of like trial software, which on Windows machines is called crapware. It's that stuff that's on the desktop when you first get a machine and it works for 30 days and then it quits working. So there's nothing wrong with this. They use Cloudflare, which is a well-known company, a security company for the internet, but you have to make sure if you're going to use this one on Edge, you don't use it for too long because it's metered. And after you run it for so many hours, and it's up to 5 megabytes now. So after you go to websites and if you're on the VPN, and another issue with this that I really don't like VPNs that are built into browsers is because I do a lot of things on the computer that aren't on browsers. For example, I don't use a browser to read email. I use a little program called Thunderbird. A lot of people use different, email apps like I do, and so that's not covered by the built-in VPN in a browser. Opera, which is the 4th most used web browser in the world. There's Opera, it has a red icon, and there's Opera Air, which has a green icon. It also offers a VPN built in. You have to go into settings and advanced and turn it on, and it's not limited. It's based in Norway. But I just mentioned that in case you're interested in a browser which uses a VPN. And you probably also know that when you visit websites today, almost all of them end in HTTPS, and the S stands for security. Here's a question from ZDNet. Somebody wrote in a question about, is not the encryption provided by my browser on the data I exchange with HTTPS sufficient to protect the data? My understanding has been that it is so. If so, a VPN is not needed for that purpose. And then this guy gets into it and answers the question. It's never, ever in any way, ever perfectly safe to exchange data over the internet, whether public, open network, or even from your home or office. It's a security thing, and security breaches and security flaws occur in networks all the time. If you're on a VPN, your signal is hidden. It's in a tunnel, and even your ISP can't see it. So it gives you this second level or third level of protection that you wouldn't be getting if you weren't using a VPN. Okay. The 14 Eyes Alliance. Most Americans have never heard of this. You want to look for a VPN that is outside the 14 Eyes Alliance. These are countries. It's a collective agreement between 14 countries to share information to ensure national security. It all began as a deal between 5, 9, and eventually 14 countries that basically turned into a basis for surveilling people. That's not what it was meant to be. It was supposed to prevent awful things like from 9/11 from happening. But now they can do whatever they want, basically. With the agreement, the privacy laws inside these countries do not respect the user's right to digital, and now I can never say that word. I couldn't, thank you, and I can't pronounce that. At any time, VPN providers that are in the 14 Eyes Alliance can be forced to give up private information about clients and their activities. You know, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong on the internet, but there's no protection there. Here are what they claim to be the 5 best VPNs outside 14 Eyes. They're like NordVPN, PureVPN, ExpressVPN, CyberGhost, and Proton VPN. And here's a long list down here with details. It tells you how many servers they have, which is important. And I know I'm going fast here. It gives you the pros and cons. One called PureVPN, ExpressVPN, CyberGhost, Proton VPN, and I can scroll. And basically, in this document explains the 14 major countries. Let me see. Okay. 14 Eyes can be split into 3 divisions. 5 Eyes Alliance, a first version of the intelligence sharing jurisdiction, and the 5 founding members, which are the US, UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. And eventually that jurisdiction grew to include 9 more countries: Germany, France, Spain, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. So if you want to get a VPN that does not log you, if somebody comes for information about you, they don't have anything on you because they don't, you want to get one outside of the 14 Eyes countries. And I'll send this to you. And they basically, and you'll notice none of these are in the US. That's because if they were in the US, 14 Eyes could surveil you and you don't know it. It's just like hackers. You have no idea who's watching the house or whatever. You know. Privacy is the #1 reason. The reason you might want to use a VPN outside 14 Eyes. Okay. Actually, we're getting close to the end. How much does a VPN cost? By the way, Bitdefender, which is a well-known antivirus, anti-malware, it's really a very good, in my opinion, service. It's based in Romania. So it's not part of the 14 Eyes either. If you have Bitdefender VPN, Bitdefender is an antivirus program, but they also offer a VPN that comes bundled with their antivirus. And if you don't want to use it, you just uncheck it and the VPN will go away. But anyway, that's also offered with their program. How much does it cost? Well, it depends on what you want. It depends on, there's so many flavors of everything. If this were ice cream, it'd be a lot more than Howard Johnson's ever offered. Or Baskin Robbins. Exactly. If you go down here, how much do they cost? Well, there's a giant list here. Here we go. The minimum cost, for example, some of these, this is monthly, a monthly charge, and it runs the gamut.
Read that. For the people on the back row, they have time.
Which row this is like an eye test. Which row should I start on? Well, for example, I've never heard of Astral VPN. That doesn't mean anything. It's $30 a month. Avast, well-known antivirus, also has a VPN. It's $10.99. AVG, another antivirus, starts at $4.49 a month. You have to have at least a 12-month contract with them. Bitdefender, $6.99 a month. If you have a 12-month contract, it goes down to $2.92. And so on and so on. It goes on. This is a long, long list. Proton is $9.99 a month, payment per month. And if you decide to go with a 12-month contract, Proton is $4.99. Also, for all of these, you want to do a search for VPN discount coupon, like in Google or whatever, because they all offer coupons. And when you're buying it, I have bought it from, I used to use Surfshark, which Nord bought. Surfshark is offered in a lot of the app stores, like the Mac App Store, the Windows Store, that kind of thing, Google Store. You don't get discounts through the app stores. So I would go to the websites first. If you're interested, check out how much it is at their website. And if you decide to buy one, make sure you get a discount coupon, which is constantly being offered. Just do a search for them and then paste that code in there and it will drop the price down for you. Let me see. One other thing I was going to show you here, if I can remember what it was. Close this. Let me save this. This is a Pages document. Let me export this as a PDF. You're seeing a behind the scenes thing here. This is not extra. I'm going to save it. And I'll save it as VPNs and I'll save it on the desktop. You see what I'm doing, Teo? Does this look familiar? I'm kidding you. Okay, we're going to close this document. Now I'm going to go back to Zoom. And I'm going to, I don't want the AI companion. I'm going to stop sharing. And where is the chat? Down here. Here it is. No, Terry, that's a good question about VPNs and apps. Generally what happens is if you have a Mac or a Windows PC, if you pay the price for it, you typically, it depends on the VPN, but a lot of times you don't have to pay any more for your iPhone or your Android phone or your iPad. You just download it and there's a version for that and it'll work with it with both of them because you have an account. They have your email address and your account, but it differs depending on the VPN itself. Let me chat. I just turned it off. Okay. Okay, let me attach it. Where's my little attach? I don't see it. Everyone in the meeting. There we go. Right here. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
That is fine.
Okay.
Say I want the Nord VPN,
Okay.
so I go online and what do you do? That's where I'm confused about.
Oh, like if I go to Nord,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to do it. Okay. It came up right here, the top. I'm using,
Share your screen.
oh, thank you. This didn't used to be this complicated. Let me share my screen. There we go. Okay. So here I've just put in Nord, and I'm going to say the best, this is their whatever. Get NordVPN. Okay, these are the prices they offer. There's a Nord coupon, limited time offer, 1 year, 6 months, 6 months of plus, which I don't know what that is. And if you might just want to get $8.39 a month for the first 2 years. Well, that's the price. But anyway, does this help, Penny?
If you just click on that,
Yeah, if you say get Prime,
okay,
I'm going to click there. They want your email.
okay,
You don't have to add any of this stuff. They want your credit card, or if you pay with something else. Yours is an individual plan, or if you want a family plan, switch to the family plan. You get 5 accounts for the price of 2. The 2-year plan is $201. Well, that's steep. I don't want to pay that. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to go basic. All you get for that is a VPN. That's all I want. Do I want to add this stuff? No. So you want the basic. I want the individual. And the 2-year plan here is 8136. Well, I might want to pay monthly where I don't want to spend this amount of money. So I'm going to do a search for NordVPN monthly payment and see if there's anything there. Okay. They offer a 1-month plan, 1 year, and maybe you just want the basic plan because that's all you want is a VPN. We have an extensive guide on how to get NordVPN cheaper. Okay, student discount, referring a friend, deals, affiliate coupons. Does this help a little?
and that's all you do, you don't do anything else fancy, you just pay your money.
Yeah, you pay your money and then you download it. It will say you can download it to your computer. It's downloadable and ready to go. So that's all you do. And all these basically work the same. I actually happen to use NordVPN. Let me quit this. It's not on currently. It's right here. If I click it, on the Mac, it's going to be in the toolbar. On the PC, it's going to be in the taskbar. It's up here at the top. I need to look at all these countries that I could connect to through these Metronet here, like I do at home. I could connect through Metronet to Canada, Cambodia, Cyprus, Guam. Typically, you want to click on the cities that are closest to where you live because the distance is shorter, so you're going to get a quicker connection. I almost always go with either St. Louis or Charlotte. I go up here. In fact, St. Louis I saved it as a recent. You don't even have to deal with all this stuff, but this is techie. If you want to, you can read about it, but you can actually choose. And you want to go to Morocco if you want to send your internet connection through Morocco. But I'm going to connect here. I'm going to connect to St. Louis just because I can either go down here to USA somewhere. Here it is. I could click on these 3 dots. Gives me a list of all the cities where they have servers, and they have 2,035 servers in the US. That's important. The more servers, the more, if you go on vacation to Florida, California, Washington State, there are more places to connect. It'll be easier and quicker. Here are the different cities: Buffalo, Boston, Charlotte, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, and it goes on all the way down to Seattle. And I'm just going to go on their map and I can connect here to anything. If I want to go across the Atlantic. Okay, I'm in Africa. Here I'm in Spain, Portugal. I could click to Lisbon. If I want to send my internet signal, so it's going through Metronet, it's going to be in a tunnel, but it's in Morocco, for example. I could do that, but I wouldn't do that normally because it's so far away. The further away you get, the potential is the speed is going to become slower. Not always, but anyway, There's France, UK, Scotland, Ireland, Scandinavian.
How about using it on your phone?
On my phone, I just connect it and leave it on, and I never mess with it. And it takes a little bit for it. When I turn it on, I wait, and there's probably a 30-second delay. I've got Wi-Fi on my phone, but the VPN is not on yet. And then it comes on. The little icon says VPN, and it's on. And I did download on the phone from the App Store because you pretty much have to do that for devices. Like it depends on the VPN though. For Nord, I went through the App Store, the iOS App Store on the phone and on the iPad. So Android has its own version too. Yes.
Um, I have a little question. I
Yes.
guess. Given that this VPN industry was created as a result of the 2018 legislature, blows my mind here.
Actually,
Why hasn't there been an effort to outlaw the VPN? If their intention in 2018 was to.
well, they actually started before then. Started quite a bit before then, and I think it's because they're legally operating. There's nothing that says you can't connect to your internet provider and then connect to a VPN. It's legal. Well, it's not in China, Russia, and some of these other countries, but it still is, as far as I know, in the US. Did I say that? As far as I know, it's still so you can connect and yes.
Are there any VPNs that offer you a trial basis?
Yes, there are some of them, and I would do a Google search or whatever your search engine is and type in VPN trial or something like that and see. And NordVPN used to offer a trial, and they may understand that I'm a subscriber, so they don't need to convince me or something. But that's a good question. You want to try it out first to see if it'll work, because it doesn't work like on some websites when you go to your bank. You may have to turn off the VPN they may not like, which is totally crazy because that's why you're using a VPN, right? Um, it never drops. It never drops a signal. Let me show you. I'm going to connect to St. Louis. I'm just going to double click here. It's connecting to St. Louis. It's connected to this server number in St. Louis, and it's green. So now I am connected to NordVPN's St. Louis servers, serving up the internet. And I'm going through Metronet here and tunneled through St. Louis. Yes.
Does Nord give you an indication of how many of the
Like how many?
ads that they block or anything like that? Because that's one thing. That's the reason I know this one is working is on the phone because on the Shield it'll say how many ads been blocked and how many.
Yeah, that is a good question, and I've never checked that on here. I think there is a way to do it.
Yeah, on the phone it pops up.
Okay.
And yeah, I haven't checked on the computer.
Yeah, I have it on the phone, and I haven't checked the phone, and I should do that to see how many I've blocked.
Yeah, it's several.
Quite a few. This is, I can't. For me, let me go to a website or whatever. Oh, we have. Probably because I'm on Zoom. You think it's because I'm on Zoom? I haven't ended it here. End meeting for all. I haven't clicked on that. And we're still on here. Can anybody hear me on Zoom?
Yes.
Can you still hear me? They can still hear me here.
You just aren't casting.
Oh,
You need to cast it.
yeah, it keeps on dropping. We're about done anyway. So, anybody have any questions?
Question in the chat room. Does the VPN slow down your computer while surfing the web?
I have not noticed that. I've noticed that it slows it down, maybe hardly even noticeable. So it's barely, yeah, it depends on what you're doing. If you're on the web, if you're going from one website to another, you hardly even notice it. And it also depends on what your internet speed is anyway.
got a request for you to put your email up there for you, please.
Those are by the authorities in Iran. Could I put in a fictitious email address? I'm sorry, that was bad. And this is being recorded for broadcast at a later date, so as you know, that's anyway. There are so many things, so many questions about VPNs. I know that this really didn't, this is kind of an intro to it. But let me go up here. See this little icon that on the toolbar up here, that tells me I'm still connected. And as long as this is lit up, I'm connected. And if you're wondering about VPNs, if you want to get your feet wet, you might want to start with a very simple one, although it goes through Canada, and I think it's called Tunnel Bear. I used it at one point. It's very easy to use. There's not much. A map comes up, and there are these bears that go down under the ground. You click on one, you're connected, and it makes a little sound. Tunnel Bear. It's based in Canada. It's really a good one, but it's based in Canada. But if you want to get your feet wet with VPNs, that might be the one to choose. And you just do a Google search or whatever.
And it didn't last very long. It was just real quick.
Of Tunnel Bear? Yeah. I'm going to unconnect. I'm going to rather disconnect. Duh. Going to click on disconnect here. And I'm no longer connected to my VPN.
Were you using it on all the time?
Mainly I do. If a website doesn't like it, I haven't had any trouble. When I first started using a VPN, some of the banks balked, but now they don't. I just leave it on and do my banking or what, pay a bill, pay my credit card, and they're okay with it. They don't seem to. But yes, I normally want to leave it on all the time. There's no reason for me to turn it off unless I'm having trouble with it. Because the exception is Zoom, because Zoom is using so many resources. It's just a big memory hog, basically, just because you're dealing with audio, video, all this stuff. I don't mean that as a negative. That's just the nature of video and audio. Plus, it's what else? I'm using this. I'm using Zoom, and there was another reason. My mind is fleeting right now. Anywho, I'm not sure Zoom. Have you ever used Zoom with a VPN? I don't know. When I'm Zooming at home, I normally don't use it. I don't have it turned on. I also don't, when I'm streaming, I never turn it on. For me,
Yes, I have, yeah.
okay. Has it worked okay?
Yeah, it's worked fine.
Yeah, I don't.
That's was with mine.
Okay, it's worked okay. I don't stream with it on because I always choose, they know where I'm located in the US and in Kentucky, and there's no question. And the services that I pay to stream, I I don't have any reason to go to Morocco to use my VPN and choose Morocco for it or whatever. Because there was an issue with that though, because the streamers don't want you to do that for obvious reasons. The contract expired for this show in America, and they don't want you to watch it in Britain because you're switching your VPN to Britain or Spain or something. Peru. Yes.
When I'm on my phone and I went to settings and then VPN device management, and then it says add VPN configuration.
That's an Android, right? It's an iPhone. Okay, yours must be newer than mine. It's very simple. Once you download a VPN and install it on there, it's this little slider, isn't it? Where it says configure. Yeah. Okay. You can add it. You just tell it that you want to use that VPN and it remembers it on your phone. Once you install a VPN, you tell it you want to start using it. And a few times when I'm walking in a park near where I live and I'm like listening to an audio book. So I'm using a lot of resources and I want to check if my order from Amazon is going to be delivered today. Amazon blocks, but there's not really good cell phone tower service in that park in all locations. You know what I mean? There's no Wi-Fi, so it's dependent on these towers that are pretty good distance. And so sometimes it blocks, and I'm doing too many things at once, apparently. So anyway, does anybody on Zoom have any questions? Okay. Well, I think we've covered as little as we can as in the period that we had with all these different Zoom items. Does everybody need a VPN? No. They're just good to have to use if you're security conscious. I believe in them. And I just think it's wise to use them. And some people say, well, I've got to spend more money. Yes, just find an inexpensive one and try it, try it for a while, try a trial period thing and see if it works for you.
The thing about the trials, speeds are slow.
Really?
I started your trial.
Really?
And then you know the speed, the speeds are slower.
On the trial,
So
okay,
if you take a trial, maybe work on everything else, but maybe slow.
okay.
If you're using cellular, the VPN,
It works through cellular too.
oh,
It works through any internet connection at all on your phone. So if you're browsing with a weather, if you have a weather app open, if you're watching UK Play with a browser or an app, you're looking at something on the web, you have Safari or another browser open, you're using your VPN every time you're connected to the internet. It's just the internet. Doesn't include Wi-Fi, but it includes if it's going through Wi-Fi using an internet signal, that is a VPN signal.
well, how's that gonna do if you have spectrum and you wanna do, your time and what's
Yeah.
it's just for your computer and your phone.
It's for anything that connects to the internet. I mean, it works with, I know it works, I read the other day where it works with Apple TV even. Nord has an Apple TV version. But if you're streaming, you mean like on a TV using Spectrum, I don't use it. And when I'm streaming, I don't use it because I don't see any reason when I'm streaming to use that. Another reason some people use VPNs, has anybody ever run into throttling where if you use you have so many, you have like bandwidth, like in the old days with AOL, they gave you this much in an hour or a day that you could use, and if you go beyond it, you have to pay more or they slow down your signal. Throttling means they slow everything down so it's just glacial. Well, that's what happens with some internet providers. They give you so much usage in a month. And if you're streaming, if the grandkids or kids are over and they're all streaming like constantly or using your internet for everything, some people reach a limit and they can't, it slows down so much it's hardly usable. Good VPNs do not throttle, they don't slow down your signal. They don't do that. That's another reason why some people use them. So anyway. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope it was helpful.